Welcome to this tutorial where we continue building an inventory system. Last lesson was lesson 7, part A or part 1. So in today's lesson, we will continue with lesson 7, but this is going to be part B of lesson 7. In the last lesson, we created and interacted with MongoDB Atlas database, which is in the cloud. We created some API routes, a post API route to be specific, that handles form submission, where we were able to create an item and submit it and store it into our database. And that was all we did in that particular lesson. But today, we are going to be creating new components that interact with our database in like manner. So the moment the item is created is going to render into the UI, then you are able to check to see the details of that particular item. You'll be able to either edit it or delete it completely. Okay, so let's get started by creating another item. Let's just say item. Let me name it as item new, and I'll be using an SKU. Just type in something. I will leave it in centimeter. Okay, let's quickly give some dimension into it. Okay, in a real Word project, you will want to put the actual details, correct details of your item into the inventory system. Okay. So let's say this item is 200 rands. And let's say the cost is 120. Let's say it's an inventory. This one, let me just say sales description and purchase description. It says from vendor. Okay, let's open up the track functionality. Let's say we have 2,000 of these, and we want to trigger a reorder when we have 200 left in the inventory system. Opening stock per just say 10, and after I've added this, okay, if I mistakenly decide to, click on submit, please upload at least one image before submitting. Okay, this is how we program it. So let's just add some images. Let me add 2-3 images. It's a multi-uploader. We can attach as many images as we want as once. And one will be, one will be set as primary. And after that has been done, we filled out all the form inputs. We can submit. You see our item has been created successfully. Let's wait a moment. It's going to, yes, render that new item. So this was, yes, I name it item 1. So this is the bare details. This is bare information that we will see render into the UI once an item has been created. The SKU number, stock on hand, reorder level, the name, and the image, which is the primary image of that particular item. In case you want to delete it, how do? You come here and you will click on delete, and we are being asked whether we really want to delete it. This is an item new. For now, I don't want to delete it. Let's see how to edit it. Let's check the details. Okay, now this is the details view, okay, of that particular item. And once we are on the detail page, we are able to see the rest of the items listed here. When you are dealing with an inventory system with a huge database, you want to limit what you see. We use a search filter where you just come up with bare minimum. Okay, so that's fine. So these were all the details attached, okay, to that particular item when we created it. So if I need to edit it, I will come here and click on that pencil icon, okay, and the details will be rendered in a form with the information that is coming from the database, okay. For some reason, this is kind of empty. It might be a bug I didn't notice earlier. Okay, so it's a services, and whatever that is we chose here will still be in there. Okay, even if we didn't click it to reveal it, it is there. It was going to be empty if we didn't put it in the first place. Okay, so this is it. Okay, how do we know that it is edited? Let's change the item name to item new edited. Okay, and in the description, let me add edited. Okay, those two are just cool enough. Maybe we change the vendor. Okay, and let's update it. Item updated successfully. You can see now that our new name has been here. If I need to delete this, I will check on this checkbox. So I will be giving this delete icon. Then I click on it. Do you really want to delete it? Let's delete it. Successfully deleted item new edited. So we can see now that we now have only 3 items left. So this is the CRUD functionality that I promised in the last lesson. And this is working as it should work. Okay, but now let's begin what was done to make this happen. Okay, so let me quickly go to, perhaps I should zoom it. Yes. Okay, so in the components, I can close the app. In the component, few things were added to this component to make what I just showed you work the way it works, or the way it's working. Okay, number one, we changed the default alert function of JavaScript, and we are using a third-party package, which is Sonar. That Sonar is this is how you install Sonar. npx shadcn at latest add Sonar, because we were actually adding the Sonar toastifier into the library of shadcn that was earlier installed in the previous lesson. And so you just click this to run it in the console. Once it is done running, it will install Sonar, okay, that file into our component by default. So, but because of the arrangement that I started when we started this tutorial, the pattern is to move each of every package or component that we are installing for shadcn into the shadcn. So I'm putting it into shadcn UI, so that when the project grows, I can know when I'm working with shadcn component, I can easily go in there to see and to work on whatever components that we need to work on. So I moved it from component into shadcn UI, okay, inside of the component, and that's all. So once that was done, the next thing to make to utilize our Sonar component was to go to the app directory inside of the act directory, I come here to the layout. So this layout is where we wrap everything within the application, everything. Okay, so you then come here to import. This is the command to install Sonar, so I can remove it now. Okay, probably I will leave it in the comment section for those who would like to just copy and paste it when they are practicing this. Then, so I import Toaster from Sonar, okay, that we just installed. That's cool. After that is done, what you then need to do is to wrap the whole of the application. Okay, okay, by the way, with Sonar, we don't wrap, we just import the component here. I put it under the children. Okay, so which means every component that make up our application, 10, 20, 40, 50, 100, 1000, no matter the number, okay, we'll be able to inherit this toaster. So whenever toaster is toast is used in the application, it will be triggered, okay, because we have already wrapped it universally into our application. And I'm choosing this position top center. That's why our toast is being seen at the top center. We can choose other positions: bottom left, top right, left bottom, left top. Choose what you want. You can practice, play around with it and see how it works. Okay, but for now and for this project, I am using top center. Okay, that's that. Okay, so having said that, I think I need to open this component again and see if we have, or I have added another component. If I've added another component, I don't seem to see anything added. Okay, I don't think so. Okay, so but in the forms, let me come to the forms. Okay, our new entry form, all I added here is then to use the toast. For me to get to it quicker, let me quickly look for toast. Okay, so here I am importing toast, not toaster with capital T. I'm now importing toast from Sonar, from the package, okay, itself. Okay, not from the UI now, not from the shadcn UI, Sonar itself. Okay, so I'm importing toast. Okay, and the first place where our toast here is used is toast.error. Okay, so this is a method, okay, on this toast function coming from Sonar. And the error, please upload at least one image. Okay, you saw it when I didn't put any image. Okay, then, okay, all we were using or we are using here is just the toast error and toast success. Okay, in the other part of the tutorial, I think there was a place where we will use information, toast.info. Okay, so otherwise we wrap in. This is how you use it. Okay, I am not explaining the other part of the code because we did it in the last lesson. So now, once we have successfully created an item, okay, and that item has been stored into the database, what we do is we use router, then we use this method that is coming from use router hook, and we push. Okay, push means that you want to route. Okay, you want to take your page to whatever route that is in here, so send it back to our inventory items. That's why we were able to, and in under the inventory items, that's exactly where the list of our items, okay, are seen. And here we are using 1200 milliseconds. That is to say, once the item is successfully created, wait 1200 milliseconds before you route, okay, to this page. Okay. The other part of the code are not necessary to explain because we did that, okay, in the last lesson. Okay. On our item type selector, good, I remember. I equally changed this, okay, to form data. We are now accessing our item type from the form data. It was not part of what we were sending. Okay, it was not part of our payload in that last lesson 7. Okay, so and as a result of this, I equally added the item type, okay, into our Prisma schema here. Okay, so our item type has been added, okay, and it's defaulting to goods because usually on our interface there we are using on our front end we are using good as a default value. It can be switched to services. Okay, so and each time you make an amendment to your MongoDB schema, because we are using Prisma, right? We need to run some code. We need to run npx some npx command, okay, to which I'm going to put in the comment section to make our new or adjustment sync with the database so that our front end is able to communicate without flaws with the database. So this was the only thing that I added, okay, and I have equally updated this in the link, okay, that I gave earlier for where you can see this in Notepad. Perhaps I could just go there. Okay, I've equally updated it here. So when you use the link, you are able to grab everything. Okay, this is it. Okay, so it's already online and it's accessible at this URL. Okay, it is equally, I will equally put it again in the comment section of this video. Okay, that's cool, and this is Zoe itself. Now that I have said that, so I can close. Let me close this again. Okay, I'm trying to remember what else needed to be done here. Nothing. Okay, so, oh yes. So as a result of that, the item type that I have added, what happened again was I then adjusted the initial. Remember, we were working on, let me be sure I'm working on the right. No, this is, we are not yet here. Okay, I should be, okay, I'm coming to the form. So in our inventory item, in our new item entry form, where we have now added item type, what happened is, okay, so I then initiated the item type, okay, here in our initial form state, and that was all that was added here. Okay, again, our item type was being initiated as a state using our state hook. Okay, that's why I commented it out, because it is no longer needed. We can declare it twice, and so I commented it out because you saw it in the last lesson. So just for it to be clear, that's why I didn't remove it completely. It's commented out. So that's cool. That's cool. Then with that, okay, another adjustment was made on the undo item type change. So you can simply update your code to this, to what we are now have, because now we are not setting the state from the use state hook. Rather, we are just grabbing the value. Okay, and we are appending the item type value into this, and that's all. Okay, on the undo item change. So with this, I don't think there is anything that was added here. Okay. Okay, all the other aspect of the code was what we had last time. Okay, and I've explained this initially. Okay, and here we are using our item type and we are getting the form data. Okay, and we are just checking on undo item change. We are calling the onChange event to make a call to our item undo item type change. I think with this, every other thing is set. Every other thing is from as we had it in the last tutorial. We just, all I did here was to use the form data.item instead of simply item type when we were using the state use state org to manage the state. Okay, so that's fine. So that is the amendment made to our new item entry form. Okay. So another component that was created were the inventory item list and the inventory item edit form. Remember that in the demo that I showed you in the beginning of the lesson, we were able to see those items, we were able to edit, we were able to delete. Okay, so inventory item list is the component that that is being used to render the items created that are coming from the database into the UI. Okay, so here we are using use router from Next Navigation, and in case I said otherwise earlier, it is actually coming is use router, which is coming from Next Navigation. Okay, and we are equally using our toast from Suna here. Okay, and there is a component. This is my modal component. This is the modal, okay, that pop up when we deleted an item. So it's a reusable component which I have decided to just declare inside of this inventory item list. Okay, as the project progresses, I might need to make it more robust and comprehensive than this, and save it as its own standalone component. Okay, it's already reusable. Then we can import it wherever in the application, wherever we need it in the application. Okay, this is where we are wrapping the actual modal into the UI. Confirm deletion, and this is the close button, and here is the modal body, and here is the footer of the modal. So this is a manipulation of JSX to render that our modal. Okay, the T-head was okay, this is a completely new component, so I wouldn't say that we use it. So this is another component, okay, that we are using to render our item list. Why it is made a reusable component here is because, let me select it, you will see that our table header is declared once, but we use it in 8 places, okay, you know, to render our UI. So it is necessary to use our table header as a component, reusable component, okay, such as, in order for us to have our code minimalized, okay. Otherwise, you can see we are just calling table header with an opening and closing tags, and we are using our name, SKU, item on end, reorder. So this is exactly what we, you see, this is exactly what we have here. It's rendering our items into view. Okay, that's it. And consider what we have here. Okay, this line in multiple places as against trying to, okay, let me just go back to, as against trying to do this, use this all, and I mean all over again. Okay, so it makes our code cleaner. Okay, so that's it. The next part of our that I need to explain is actually the function, okay, that renders our inventory item list. Okay, so here we are using a state management functions. Is mother open, set is mother open. This is what we are using to manipulate opening and closing of our model. Okay, and here we are making use of our use router that was imported from Next navigation up, and we are just assigning a variable to it. This variable doesn't have to be router, it can be anything, but this is the convention. If you are using use router, use navigation and all that, here you say const navigation equals use navigation. This is a router, then we say use router, then we simply say router. It's a convention. It's not that it has to be. Okay, so after that, then we have a function. This function is declared as an async function, and we are using try catch block into read. Okay, this is simply doing simply communicating to this endpoint, API new item. API new item is a route which we saw in the last lesson. The route is coming from our API new item. This is it. Okay, and this is the router. I mean, this is the route.js, and this is exactly the routes. Oh, sorry. The API endpoints, okay, that we are making communication to. This was explained in the last lesson, but I will come back here if there is any need for me to explain anything. Okay, for now, let's just have it as it is. Okay, so it looks like I lost that. Okay, I was talking about this. Sorry, we were on the inventory item list. Okay, so we are making an API fetch call into this. So automatically, when we hit this endpoint, Nextjs automatically detect that we are making a post call automatically. Okay, so again, we are setting, once we make a call to our fetch API items in an async function manner, I am then immediately set loading to true on the UI. I don't need to explain this. This was dealt with in last lesson. Okay, there's no need for repetition. Okay, and we do all what we are doing here, spreading all the item and setting it to the set items function here. Once data is okay, this means that our response from the our API endpoint call is successful. So we can use our data the way we want to use it. Okay, so after that has been done, what we're doing here is we are throwing in a use effect from React, is an hook from React, and we are simply saying which 300 millisecond, then we set the clear timeout. If there is any change in the page or on the search, okay, that were actually declared here. You see, we have the search, we have the page, okay, and here we are using params from new URL search params, okay. Okay, so we make use of our data, okay, that we got from our API endpoint response. So if everything is set, we use it. Then we finally set it's loading back to false once everything has all been done. Okay, so use effect, whenever there is a change in the page or search, it will kick into action. Use effect function will run. And here is another function that we created. This function is simply taking us back to our item details. You see, remember, if I come here and I click on this, okay, we are routed, okay, to this. Our page is still loading, okay. I mean, the content we're still loading, okay. So the route that is taking care of making our item details seen is this function. Our undo click is called upon, and we say, and it routes us to these routes, taking item details, and we are adding or appending the ID of that particular item, because that's exactly what we want to see. Okay, it's a dynamic route here. Okay, so our undo click or undo item click, let me select it so that you see it is declared here and it is used. It is being used here. It is being used in our this TD tag, okay, that is used to wrap our items. Okay, so let me close it. You see, so once we click, okay, on that, then our undo item click function, okay, with this argument that we supply into it, which is the item ID, okay, is going to make a call back to this function. It's going to make a call back to this function, and that function will render. This is where we supply the params into the function, and we supply the argument, okay, in here. Okay, so basically, and here we are just, this is our layout. This is basic HTML, okay, used in JSX syntax in this application. So we are simply then rendering, okay, all that into bin. And here is where we have our undo delete click function. This is what we use in deleting that item, as you saw me in the demo, when I presented the demo at the start of the lesson. Okay, so let me select this. You are going to see that it is used here in the button, but this was where it was declared. It's taking a parameter here, and once the parameter is set, we set selected item to the item. That will be the argument that is supplied as against this item here, which is the parameter. Then we set its modal to open. Okay, remember that in the application, let me go back to the to the list, you see our delete button is not shown. It's not seen. It's not active until we check or select a particular item. Then we are then able to have it. Okay. It was this function that is making that to happen. Set is set selected item to this. So this is what we are using to manipulate that state into making our item seen. Okay. Let me scroll down and see. Okay. The other part of it is pagination, which we are not using as of now because we have limited items. We decide on how we make use of the pagination controls later, not in this lesson, but in future lessons. Okay, for now there is no need for this. Otherwise, if it's loading, this is it. We load. That is to say, our item is yet to be loaded. Is loading, is making a call, an async call to the API through to the database. We can render this part to the UI. Otherwise, we can remove it. It will be blank, or we simply put something there to the user to see. Okay. Another thing is on the undo delete confirmation, which is another function. Okay. Remember that our modal will pop up. It will ask us if we really intend to delete that item. If you say yes, then a delete, a fetch call is made to the API new item. Okay, and we set, or we append the selected item identity, which is the ID of that item from the database. We append it to our API endpoint, and we say the method is a delete. So once it sends a delete method, automatically our API route with delete function will be called. I am going to show you that shortly, but before that is done, let's just see what happened. So when a successful call has been made and the method is delete, okay, we wait until we get the response. Once we grab the response, we store it into the data and we check whether data is okay. If data is okay, it means that we have successfully removed that item from the database. So once it is removed from the database, we then need to refresh our UI to equally remove it from the UI, from the browser, so to speak. So here we are using Sonar Toast to say successfully deleted, that is, the item has been deleted, and we are showing the name of that item that was just deleted. Otherwise, okay, it failed to delete if for whatever reason the deletion didn't happen. Okay, so that's fine. And if otherwise none of these work, it was an error, then we toast an error, okay, to the user. So that is about that on that delete function as well. Let me close this. And we are using our undo delete confirm function here. Okay, perhaps I need to scroll. So basically, that is what it is. And this is our table that renders the list of items. And I've already explained the table header earlier on. Okay. Okay, this is another part of the tutorial that needs to be explained. You see, in the table body, our table body is is what we is HTML tag that we use, semantic that we use to wrap in our loading state. These are just bunch of divs with background of gray of 200 and all that, okay, that are declared inside of the TD tags. What this does is simple to, let me refresh this item. It's simple, it's simply to render, you see, wait on no items found, okay, you see, that is what it's a placeholder. It's cool to use this skeletal loader in this particular case. Okay, and with this, I think we have come to the end of my explanation. I'm trying to check. Now, this is the function that is handling our checkbox change. Okay, so this is what our inventory item list looks like. Okay, let me go to come back here and explain. Okay, on our inventory item editor form or edit form, all I did here was simply to copy our new entry form, our new item entry form, because they are very similar. I only copied and pasted as into the inventory item edit form and made necessary adjustments. I imported Sona from Sona, Toast from Sona, like before. And here, the item type that we no longer use, I am just commenting it out for reference sake. So in here, we are making use of params from use params, router from use router from use router. You can see the convention of naming it. Router, we are using our use router. Params, we are using our use params. Okay, and here we declared a variable named item ID, and we make whatever parameter, whatever the ID, okay, that is coming from the URL. Use params, okay, it's a hook. Let me click it. Let me show you where it is imported. This is where it's been imported. We imported the use params from Next Navigation as well as use router from Next Navigation. Okay, and here we are making use of it. Okay, what it means is by making use of use params hook, and we assign that function to our params, okay, then we'll be able to make use of params.id, okay, to get or to access the ID, okay, that is coming from the URL. How? Let me quickly show you. Let me come here. This is our, let me go to a particular particular item. You can see this is our URL. We are still developing, so it's localhost column 3000/inventory item details. This is our route endpoint, okay, and anything, okay, that we get from here, this string value is the ID. How is it the ID? This is how we know. Let me show you. Our use param.id. This ID is coming from okay, this ID is coming from the ID that is inside of this block parenthesis. That is just the structure of Nextjs application. You may not understand it, but this is what Nextjs use under the hood to access parameters, okay, that are coming from the URL. If, for instance, I would name, okay, if, for instance, I would name this ID that is inside of the parentheses, I will name it like XYZ, for instance. Then what would mean that to access that value, what would it means would have been, I mean, what would then mean is I should use XYZ here, params.xyz. It will automatically access it. If I use whatever you use, whatever you name, okay, this inside of the block bracket is what you are going to use. So it is stored against the ID because we have it as ID here. Okay. So whenever we are then editing, our item ID is already being accessed because we are sending it to the URL, and the application is sending it to the URL, and our Nextjs has made it easy for us to just access, you know. So we then have our item ID. The particular item ID is now stored against item ID, and our initial forms, okay, this is our initial form state. This one, there is no need to explain anything here again because it is exactly as we have it in the new item form. Otherwise, okay, you see, we are instantiating it into goods because it's good. Otherwise, that's the initial, okay, and we are then setting the form data into the initial form data. Okay, so yes, so now we have our fetch item data as a function. Our set item data is a function, okay, that is used to fetch item data. If there is no item ID present, okay, then we return. That is, we truncate this function from being running. Otherwise, we throw the other part into a try-catch block, and we toast error out if there is error. If there is no error, we finalize, we set is loading back to false. And finally here, our fetch item data is called. It will be called whenever there is a change in the item ID, which means I click on item number 1, it fetches, my use effect will be called into action. It renders that ID, I mean that item into UI. If I click on another item, because the ID would have changed, then my use effect is always, okay, waiting for a change, okay, in what we have in the curly bracket, which is in the callback here. And so that is how this functions. Okay, in the main try, what happened? We make a call into our API new item endpoint, and we use this question mark to send the ID, and we set the ID into the item ID that is coming from the URL that we use params, okay, to get. And the other things that we have here is they are exactly the same as what I've explained in the form, in the item creation. Okay. So that is what it is. undo change. Okay, earlier on I explained undo item change. Here I intentionally left it. I commented it out because now we no longer use set item type when we were grabbing the value. We are now using the value as was set in the initial state. Okay, as against using the the setter functions from our use state. You remember I explained that. So our undo item type, that's the change that was made. Okay, undo submit, nothing was changed except for we are now adding a toast. Okay, we toast the error if there is an error. That is to say images length is equal to 0 and existing images length is equal to 0. So the reason why we are changing, where we are checking against two different conditions is, remember this is inventory item edit form. We are editing. So there is no way we would have submitted any item without at least one image. So here we want to check if there is existing image. If the length is equal to 0, then there is something wrong. Otherwise, if perhaps we added new images, because we can add more images to it when you are editing, and you can remove part of the images. So whether you remove all images or something went wrong and the images are no longer there, we will be presented with a toast to say kindly attach at least one image before submitting. Okay, maybe I should actually say here before updating, because this is an updating. We are updating here. So, and if you pass that part of the image, everything is set, grab it and construct our form data to send from new form data, which is a JavaScript API. Then we check through each of the key values that are coming from our form. We check through them and we utilize it. Much explanation is not necessary here, as it was already explained, okay, in the earlier lessons. Okay, now, if everything is set in terms of all the input, the images, what next do? We make a call to our API new item. And the method here is put. Because it's a put, we are editing, we are expecting some data. So we need to then append the form data to send to the body. So we need the method and the body and the endpoint. And once that is done, if something is wrong, let us know what is wrong. Otherwise, nothing is wrong. Assign the data that is coming from our response JSON. Okay, if it's okay, toast success. If it's not, then toast success. Then wait for 1,200 milliseconds. Then before you route to the items. That's it. So that's it. And here in the item type selector, I equally change it from item type equals item type into form data.itemType, because now everything is coming from the form data. The rest of the form remains the same as we have it, okay, in the new item creation form. Yes, I doubt anything changed. Yeah, I didn't change anything. So that's it. That's it about our So all what we then doing here is just to render the data or the value, okay, of that particular, of a particular item, okay, that we are interested in editing into the UI. Okay, this was, or this is how all of these are being rendered to the UI. Okay, I intend to remove this exclamation mark, make it 1 so that it's the same or it's uniform with the purchase, Otherwise, every other thing remains the same. They remain unchanged from our, let me open it, from our new item entry form. Every other thing remains the same. So with that, I think I'm done with the component inside of our components here. Okay, inside of that component directories, or directory rather. Okay, then now that all of these are done, okay, there is another component that I need to explain. That component, I decided not to create it here. Okay, I put it inside of items details. Okay, if you want to create this page, this is what you do actually. See, I want to create, let me create item details 2. Okay, and put it inside of the inventory, just for you to see how this is created. I'm right clicking here, I'm saying I want to create a file. I can just use this shortcut, item details. It's flagging because there is one existing. I want to use it as 2/page, okay, dot JSX, because this is a page route. It's not an API route, it's a page route. So okay, you see now I have just simply created, okay, a folder, item details 2, and I have page. Okay, I forgot to actually make it, I mean to create it inside of an ID, so that, okay, so that I can append an ID to it, okay, in the UI here, because we want a particular item. Okay, the way Nextjs will be able to get the ID of that particular, that is a unique identifier of that particular item, is to create my page, okay, inside of an identified. Okay, there are 2 ways to do it. I could come here and just create in my block bracket, I say ID, I close it up. Okay, then I move this initial one into it. Do you want to move it? Move. So now we have this exactly the same thing as we have here. Okay, and I can run my my shorthand command RFCE. Okay, and this is made possible by, okay, behave like a newbie there. Okay, so I am trying to check out, because I don't think I mentioned, yes. So this code snippet helper is coming from ES7 plus React Redux React Native snippets. So this is the extension that I'm using, that is making me to be able to quickly create such. Okay, so I can delete this. That was just done to show you how that is. So it's a nested page in a way. So with this, we will be able to route our application to or to navigate to inventory items details 2 slash, then it takes the page. So then the ID will automatically be supplied through use params. I want to remove it. Do you want items 2? Yes. Okay, so our item details, the page inside of the item details is here. Let me quickly explain it. Let me close the fallback. So every other thing remains the same. I'm importing tooltip. This is a reusable component that we created at maybe the second lesson 2 of the tutorial. I can't remember which lesson we created that, but that's it. So here we are simply creating some reusable components again. Detail row. Let me see. You see, it is used in 16 places. Declared here or created here, and we use it in 16 different places. You see. Okay, this is what we are using here to, you see, this is what we are using to render into UI this nice interface. We were going to be in trouble if we would be needing to repeat, okay, okay, let me just go back to her. If we would be needing to repeat this diff again and again, our code is going to be a mess. That's why I decided to create it as a reusable component with 2 props, label and the value. Okay, and here I'm returning the label inside of DT tag. Okay, and I am again using the value here in this DD tag. That's all. So we were able to use it in multiple places and make it, and the style that we gave here, okay, are actually being utilized instead of repeating them 1,001 times. Okay, and the same thing is done on the stock info section. Let me see. Okay, this is not too much. We could have just repeat them, but it's a good practice to do it this way as well. So the same thing that is used here. Okay, then the actual item detail function is used here. I am leaving this page thing there because in the future we'll probably be using them. Otherwise they are already declared. Okay, and now our fetch function, fetch item. This one is fetch item, not items, because we just want to fetch a single item. And we are making a get call into our API endpoint, and we are supplying the ID. Okay, so by supplying the ID, we listen or wait for the response, and we utilize the response from the data as we should. Like this console, it was just for development purpose so that I can check my browser console. Otherwise, okay, I'm commenting it out. Okay, so this I don't need to explain. I've explained because they are simply the same thing like you've seen before. And again, I am declaring another fetch items function. You can see this is an items now. It's an async function like before. Now we are waiting. Okay, in this particular case, we are simply loading. For now, we are loading all the items. That's undo item click. This is the function that is used to undo the item click. You know, when the item is clicked. Let's see whether it's clicked. Okay, it's item 5. You see? So the function that is called, okay, to trigger this event, that is the one that is loading the new item with the ID. This one, you see? Notice B24, notice 7C6. So that's the function, okay, the function that is simply just route us to that, okay. And here is where we are grabbing the item details. So we created another variable. So we store a single item into this variable if single item exists. If it doesn't exist, it means something is wrong or you don't have data in the database that you can make a call to. Then we use this fallback item. The fallback item, I will go back and quickly just show you. Otherwise, it's almost like it's a skeletal object that we created, that we, in like manner as what our API fetch response is. So here we have our main item, our main main image. Then we check through to find the image. We know which one is primary, and on the thumbnails we check through, okay, and we must make sure that it is not a primary. Anything that rolls down in the thumbnail is not a primary image. Then the main image, which is the primary one, is the primary one as they are rendered here. This is the primary one. These other ones are not. Let me come here, or perhaps we are on item 1. You see, this one is only because I created with only 2 images. This one, okay, multiple images, you see. So all these other ones are the thumbnails, while this is the primary. Okay, so on our component here, we're simply using a tooltip, okay, with this plus icon that is coming from React Lucid, this one, and this is our tooltip. You can see create a new item. If I click on this, it takes me to, let me just click it, it takes us to a new items entry form. Here we can enter a new item. Otherwise, I want to go back to where on the details that we were. Okay, so how we render this to the UI has been what I've been explaining. Okay, so let's check through our, let me close this UL. I'm using rotate counterclockwise with size 12. This one. Okay, only just to make something look close to what we have with. So, okay, so that's it. And the other ones, I've explained that, so don't let me come back here. Then the last part that I'm here to explain is this. Okay, and let's go there. Let's go there. Okay, our detail role is used here. Yes, this is the div. Okay, this is the div container that is housing our detail image, the primary one here. Okay, you see, we are just throwing in main image. We get, if the URL of the main image is there, we use it. Otherwise, if it's not there, we fall back to image and we take the URL with index of 0. And here I declared the height and the width in a style. Okay, then the next div, the bottom div, is where we run in our thumbnails. If there are thumbnails, then map through them, okay, and take, use this param, okay, and we wrote, perhaps I don't need to explain much on this because These are just mapping things that we have done over and over again. So this is where we map out all the images that are attached to the item that are not the primary image. They can be 7, 10, 20, 40, 1, or none. Okay, that's why you say here I use an optional chaining of the question mark, thumbnails question mark, which means don't throw an error if no thumbnail is present. If there is, map through them. Okay, then render them in an image tag to the UI. What is possible here is equally to use an image component that is coming from next image. But I am using the regular image tag, HTML image tag here to render them. Okay, our stock info, I explained this earlier on. So, okay, so with this, we have come to an end of our component that renders the item details, our item details page. Okay, the same thing here is on the navigation. Okay, it's simply on the navigation where we are getting through to, let me show you. Okay, it's the details that we have here. So that's what is rendering them. And this one, sales information, purchase information. Okay. So the next and probably the last thing for me to explain here is now the routes. The routes. Our puts, let me go there. Okay, on the route, it's a little bit, it can be a little bit complex for a newbie to understand. So I want to take my time to do that. You see, in the new item, we have a route here. Now, when we are making a call, a post call to create an item, this is the part of the function. Okay, it's an async function of post that is taking a parameter, okay, of rec, that is the request. Okay, so when a form is being submitted and a call is being made to our API new item, if it is a post call, this is our post function here is get called. So all the data that is coming from the form is coming with the request body. We take it as rec here, as the request body, and we then we append it, okay, or we save it, okay, into form data. Form data variable is declared here. Then we save all the data that is coming from the request body. Okay, from here we append it. Okay, we give it to the form data. So all form data, we then utilize this. I think I don't need to explain even this. It was explained in the last lesson. Okay, let me explain even this part. Okay, you see, so we have our data that is coming from the form, raw as they are. So here I want to destructure them. I'm taking dim length, which is dimension length, dimension width, dimension height, as they are. I'm taking them, destructuring them. But for my images, I want to rename images as _I. This is how Nextjs, JavaScript, or this application as a whole, okay, will interpret this. I'm renaming the images because I don't want it to be part of my clean data. My clean data can be named anything. We are just naming it clean data so that we understand we are taking out part of the data that is sent from the front end that we don't need for now. Okay, so when we take this, okay, and we are renaming this, and we are spreading out our clean data as a declaration, okay, so we are taking all of that from our all form data. Do we have all form data? Earlier on, you see, we have it in 4 places, and this one is the second one. The first one is where we are taking all the form entry, okay, and we save it against our all form data. All means all, including the images, and we are trying to manipulate the form data using some JavaScript APIs like get all when we name the images. So these images, okay, and here we are getting image metadata as a declared variable here. We equate that to form data dot get all image data. So these actually image data and images. Okay, let me go back to the second one, what we are using here. So the images is renamed, image metadata is equally renamed. Okay, so all the other data are grabbed and the clean data is in here. So again, we come to where we need to process the data. Okay. If you already understood this from the previous lesson, you can skip this part. So our process data, another variable, which is which we declare as an object. So we throw in our clean data that we already got from the all data that we destructure. So we take the returnable, which is one of the variables or one of the fields that is in our database. We take our clean data returnable. We checked whether if it is true. If it is true that this string true, it is true. Otherwise, if it is not, or it is returnable, it is true in Boolean. So whether it is in string, true in string, or true in Boolean, just get the value for us. The value is going to be saved against this. Okay, but they will always be true because we use Boolean in our data, in our schema, in our database schema or schema. Okay, so the same thing we do with the other variables. We just get the values. Like I said, there is no need to overemphasize on these ones. It was done in the last lesson. So we did the same thing for images. We await the promise all. We map through the images, okay, and we use this command, this function. Sorry, we use our path join. We look through this, we get this path, and we get our file name, and we await when we write the file, okay, into the application. Okay, so when that is done, we are working with a transform data where we throw in the process data, the data that we just processed, and we are taking the dimension, we are utilizing those destructured values, okay, from the all data, and we are now sending the images. I mean, we are adding the images, okay. After that is done, we simply just make a call to our Prisma inventory. This is inventory item being the name of the schema. Then we create it, wrap our transform data into data, because that is how Prisma is expecting our form input to be. So we get that. I am trying to quickly close this up to make it easier. So again, let me explain the get function. So if we make a call to our API new item, and the call is a get is a get request, then our function get function is going to be triggered. Okay, we use search params, we get the ID, we save the ID into this ID. If there is ID, let's find it using our find unique method, okay, that is already made for us or provided by Prisma, calling on our inventory item, which is the name of our schema. Then we look for where this ID that is already present, we find it, where that ID exists in the database. Then we continue. We save the item into the response into this item in an await async manner. Otherwise, if there is no item, then we say check through whether there is item. It means something, a value has been stored against the item. If nothing is found against this ID, our item is going to be null. So if it is null, tell us that item is not found, and status is 404, the OK is false, OK is not true, using our next response. And by the way, our next response, if I can quickly go back to number 1, we see where we imported it from next server. Let's go back to number 4. We were here. Okay. So if there is no item, tell us there is no item. Otherwise, continue and return that OK is true. Then tell us the item. Okay, return the item. Okay. And the last part is the pagination part, which I said we are not using as of now. I just still have this here. In our future lessons, we might come to this so that I explain it if I need to utilize them. Otherwise, these are operators that are present in MongoDB. Okay, so we are checking where search. If search is available, that is, there is a value sent to, of search, then we put this. Otherwise, let it be null. Okay, null object, empty object rather, not null, empty object. Otherwise, we take items, total, we await premise all. Okay, we make a find all call, and we check through our where, skip, we take limit. This is all about pagination terminologies. Okay, so let's leave that. We are not using it. Let me close this to minimize what we have in the UI. So in the same manner, if the code that is sent to our items, our API endpoint, if it's a put, that is to say we want to edit. If it's a put, which means we want to edit, we need the ID, just like we had it in the get function. So it's the same. Okay, in the inside of the API, inside of new item, we have a route.js file that is inside of that is in the root of new item directory, and we do have another route.js that is inside of the square brackets ID. if, and I've equally explained the get route handler here. We are extracting the ID from search param.get, okay, and we are finding the unique method of the Prisma to, then we then use that to render the information. Okay, this gets, let me go back there. So this get route handler, okay, is the route endpoint. This get function is the endpoint that is responsible for listening our items. Let me come here. You see, this one will not find any item to load because the get router handler has been tampered with. So Nextjs will not understand that get because it will not find the appropriate function to handle it. So, but now that I've removed it and save it back to the normal, let me refresh it. And now our item should list. You see, the item as listed. So the difference between this get and the get inside of the ID is that this one lists all the items that are in the inventory item, except otherwise stated if we try to limit them from here. Okay, otherwise, if not otherwise stated, it will go and list all the items, okay, that are present, okay, in our inventory system. And again, the put, okay, put function is for editing, updating an inventory item. Okay, so if I can just close this one out, okay, and try to make edit, let's see what happened. Okay, so let's say, assume we want to edit this item number 1. Okay, let me just put it item number 1, edited. Item number 1 edited. Let's scroll down. Let me save it and see something went wrong. The reason why something is going wrong is because the route handler that can update our item has been tampered with. So it's no longer what Nextjs is expecting. So function put is then activated it. So this is working exactly the same way to get the ID of that particular item that we want to use if it is not available. Okay, so this I explained earlier. I am only trying to explain again so that you will have the clarity. We are getting the existing data, okay, and when you are updating an item, you don't need to send back the ID because the ID is unique. You will rather use that identity which is the unique identifier in the database, to update it. Rather, it is not sent or sent as a fresh, as part of the payload. Otherwise, it's going to trigger an error. That is why we want to extract, okay, so that Prisma will ignore the field, the ID field. So the ID field is being ignored simply by using this underscore. You equate it to an underscore. It's like you are removing it from the payload. Okay, this concept will be understood if you have worked with MongoDB that as a data ORM in the past. Okay, so we extract the ID field out. Otherwise, we will not going to be able to update that particular item. And the same thing we did earlier on, like we were renaming this parts, and we are removing them from the clean data, and we are getting it from all data that was sent. So that's the only part that I think I should explain in the update. And here we are getting the new images. The new image concept is perhaps you have added more images when you are editing. You are adding, you know. So if you are adding, we try to get what you have added. Okay. Okay, we filter them out, and here, this is where we combine all the images. We combine the existing and the new images. If there are no images, it's simply just ignore it. It will be, no, nothing will be there. So all images are spread out with the existing, and we are taking new images if they equally exist. And after that has been done, we then check, assign primary images from all images that has, then we filter it. The primary images dot length is 0, and all images dot length is greater than 0. Then we take the image with the index of 0, which means it's number 1. Okay, in the order in which they are uploaded, we make that to be the primary. Okay. After that, we transform the data. I'm not going to talk about transforming the data again because I already explained it earlier in the, when we are submitting when we are submitting a fresh item, when we are creating an item. Okay. Otherwise, we then use our for loop. Okay. We take images of removed images. This is a concept of for loop in the usual JavaScript. Then we try and catch an error if error would occur. Otherwise, we throw in another try catch error to await the file system access of file path. We await on link file path, and we catch if there is an access error. You know, so file doesn't exist, then we skip. Otherwise, we log in the error as encountered. So that is how we handle the updating of our images. This is logging to the console to give us, so that we know what the issue is if there is an issue. Otherwise, there is no issue, then we update using the update method of the Prisma, and we update to where ID. Okay, the item ID is this ID that is sent. Okay, the one that we that is coming from the item. Then we make our transform data to, we equate it to the data. So it's coming as a data. This is an object. So Prisma is expecting that data to be in object form. And if everything is okay, we then render this message. Okay, otherwise we catch the error, and we say error is okay, is false, because it will be false. 500 status error message itself. Otherwise, if it is okay, then it is true. Then we render the we return the item and give this appropriate message as being the appropriate message. Item updated successfully. And this item, okay, it is now what is used. We are working on new item. Let me quickly check. Yes, we are updating, right? We are updating, which means we'll be working with item inventory edit item form. Okay, let me just check quickly. API. Okay, so this is the API call that we are making a call to. So if the data is okay, as returned, let me come back here. Yes, it's got. So if the data is okay, if okay, it's true, but this, yeah, so our response is item created. No, we should go for the next one. Item, why don't I just simply go for put? It's faster that way. Okay, so we were working on this put route handler. So if, okay, yes. So if everything is fine, okay is true, we return the item, we assign the message. Okay, that message is what is going to be used, okay, in our inventory edit item form, okay, where we then get we then get the response. Yes, response.ok. Yes, so if the data is okay now, then we return our toast message. Okay, another thing that can be done here is we can as well toast success. And instead of hard coding the message here, in fact, it's an edit. Let me quickly do it. Instead of hard coding the message here, we can as well just take the data dot message. Data dot message. So whatever that is returned here as the message, okay, then we get that message here. Otherwise, I always love, most of the time, love to use the shorthand. I just use MSG. I save it against MSG variable. Then I take my MSG variable here. Okay, the only thing is I need to check, yes, is the put from our route. This one, not the one from the ID. Okay, can I just test it? Okay, let me, for us to see that we should pick this message now. Okay, so let's quickly then go and edit. How do we know we want to edit item 1? Okay, let's just update it. Can you see? So updated successfully with 3 exclamation mark. So ID situation will not be to add code the response here. Okay, it will just be to grab the data dot message, okay, which we declared here. If I use full message here, we were going to get it from data dot full message ms MESSAG. Okay. So the same thing goes for the error. The same thing goes for the error. Okay. In ideal situation would be to just grab the exact response as coming from the API. Okay, so that is about our put. Okay, and with that, I think I'm done with all the, okay, the file is big, so sometimes it's just good to quickly do this. I've searched for it. So with this, maybe the other one will be get. If I can put this, it takes me straight to that. Okay, so with this, I have explained, okay, all our route handlers in our, that is in the new item, which is this, the main one. However, to be able to work with particular, let me go there. For us to be able to work with this, for us to be able to work with individual items in the details, in the item details component, okay, we are working with a get function that is loading all these items, and that one, okay, the get function that is loading all this, let me show you, is the same one. It is this, the same get. That is why I say a list, okay. For instance, let me do it for you. I have blocked it out, right? Let me refresh and see. Once I refresh, this part of the application is no longer going to be rendered. Why? Because it is the same route handler that is responsible for listing that, as well as listing the main item list, okay, as well as this same responsible for the listening of this is the same. Is the same. Okay, so now that that is clear, then let me go into the route handler that is in the inside of the ID. Okay, so what this does is we will be able to gain access, okay, to individual items in terms of getting them and to delete them. Okay, and I think this should be the only two route handlers that are needed here. You want to get a specific one, since our get here, post is sending the items in, put is making us to be able to edit the item itself, okay, from the edit form, from this inventory item edit form, okay, and our get is responsible for both listening of this and listening of this, okay. So yet there is nothing individualistic about these items, okay, until we try to edit it, okay. So then that takes us to this route, the one inside of the ID. I come in here, okay. Let me close the get here and see what we have. I've closed that get, so I want to refresh it, see what it affects. What does it affect? It's not going to affect this. The get that is responsible for that is this. It's this one. Okay, but the one inside of the ID, this one, is the route responsible for these items here. That's why it's non-available. So the data here is falling back to if I go to item details. So this get route handler is what is responsible for the data here, individual data on the details. Okay, so let me send it back to normal, and you see, let's refresh our page. The page is going to load the data now. It's taking too long. Okay, so the data is loaded. The data is loaded. So that get is responsible, as well as this delete function is the one that is responsible for deletion of, let me block it out, and let's try to delete an item. Let's try to delete an item. Let's say we want to delete this one. Okay, I came to a wrong place. If I need to delete, I'm coming here. So let's say we want to delete it. You see, an error occurred during deletion. Why? Because our route handler that is responsible for deletion is this one. And we didn't spell it correctly intentionally. Okay? So, maybe we start from the deletion. Let me explain this. Very simple route handler. We are getting the request object and we are destructuring the params. Okay, this is possible for us to do directly from our any of the functions here, whether get or put or delete. You see, we can destructure straight our params, and that params we can then again destructure ID from the params. Then we take the delete option object, okay, of Prisma, and we are looking for where that item has this ID. Simple. After that, we return our JSON formatted data object. Okay is true. Message item deleted successfully. Again, I can change this to MSG because I love it so. Because I love it so. Yes. So that is as simple as that. If there is an error, we catch the error here. Error deleting item. Then we show what the specific error is. That's all about the delete route handler here. And on the get, we are taking the request, okay, and we are destructuring the params as well. And in here, we are doing the same thing inside of the try catch. We are destructuring the ID from the params. With this, we don't have access to our ID. Okay, and so we take the the item, then we find a unique item based on the ID that is supplied. And so these params and this ID and the request will be sent to the front end. We access it through use params hook. Okay, so if there is an item is found, and that item include images. We are using include images because in our schema, in our Prisma schema, images are stored inside of item as an object. I won't go back there because that was explained when I created and explained the Prisma schema that we are using. Okay, so if there is no item, we return false. Otherwise, we return okay is true, then we return the item, and if anything goes wrong, we catch the error and we return the message as we find it, as it is here. Okay, so with this, this is what this route handler does. Is the one that is responsible for a specific individual item, and this can be used to. It is actually used to render that item. Okay, so with this, I have explained all the route handlers that are used in this application. Let's test it. Let me edit an item again because it's easy to. Okay, item 1 1, item 1 1 _1. Let me update it. It's updated successfully with 3 exclamation. Okay. Successfully 3 exclamation. So I just want to get that part of the, okay, this is where it is. 1 is okay. 1 is okay. So that is what it is. We have come to the end of this particular tutorial. I hope I've not left anything unexplained. If you think I left anything unexplained, okay, try to put a comment down in the comment section below. Thank you for watching. I look forward to seeing you in another one. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed to our channel. Don't forget to check the comment section below to see all the necessary command line to install the packages that are used in this particular lesson. Thank you. Stay blessed.